My mom told me not to do Entourage.
Well, what now? How can you listen to anything she says to you now? I mean, she told you not to do the biggest show of your career.
But she was right. What she said to me, which is very interesting, she said, "You're playing this so real." She said, "I think people are going to get confused.
Yeah.
And if you're in their living rooms for a decade, they're going to think you are this character."
Yes.
And I was like, "Mom, that's ridiculous."
She was right.
She was right.
Welcome to Spike's Car Radio. Happy New Year, everybody. And what better way to celebrate New Year than this gentleman, Jeremy Piven?
It's an honor to be here, gentlemen.
It's not really an honor.
No, it is.
Is it really?
You know, the highest version of myself says absolutely it's an honor, because the reality is, you know, we would love to complain, but no one cares. No one cares. You know, and the sooner we get that, the better off we're going to be in this life. Do you know what I mean? I hate to get so weird and spiritual.
This is a new Jeremy Piven for a new year. This is how you were in 2024?
This is, you know, I've been through a lot. We've all been through a lot. And then at a certain point, you get the perspective that, man, we're just lucky to be here. And it's so cliched and ridiculous, but no, I mean that. You know, we are very lucky to be here.
And here we are. Yeah. And I'm very happy that you're here doing a show. This is traditionally a dark week for a podcast, for a show, because you know, either you have to bank a bunch of shows or you have to track down, you know, who's around. So I was very excited. I'd been wanting to have you on the show, as you know, because you're always talking about your cigars and everything. And I keep saying, when are you coming back to us? And you go, I'm coming, buddy. I'm coming. And then
listen, I was honored to be just you on a porch with you in the inception of the show,
right, in the very beginning,
in Malibu.
Yeah, and now we can see you. And you've got a new movie.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. We have so much to talk about, so I want to get right into it. This is the movie is called The Performance.
Yeah.
It's coming out in February
17th.
February 17th. And this is a movie that took you how many years to make? This is your passion project, like 14 years?
15 years.
15 years.
Total, yeah.
So tell me about that. It's based on an Arthur Miller short story.
Yeah, the great Arthur Miller, the Pulitzer Prize winning, brilliant, you know, one of our greats. His daughter, Rebecca Miller, had the rights to this short story that my mother, Joyce Piven, who's been my acting teacher my whole life, she gave me this short story and said, "There's something in here for you." My mom is like, she's not a very frivolous woman. You know, she's not your typical doting Jewish mother. She's an actress and she's a gypsy. And she just said, "There's something in here for you." And my God, was she right.
Why did it take 14, 15 years?
Because no one wants to make a period piece that's an indie film.
And tell everybody what it's about.
I play Harold May, who is a tap dancer, a Jewish tap dancer in 1937 in Brooklyn. And, you know, not making a lot of money. And tap dancers to this day, no matter how good you are, and he's, you know, they don't make a lot of money. You know what I mean? And he wants a family, and he wants to progress, and he's pretty great at what he does. And the movie really is about how much of yourself will you compromise for success in this life. And I think we all can identify with that. And he's willing to compromise it all. He's willing to hide the fact that he's Jewish and dance for Hitler. And, you know, the stakes couldn't be higher.
You sent me a clip a while back, and I thought the same thing. I loved you in this. I loved the lighting and the cinematography. I thought was amazing. But let's back up to an Arthur Miller short story. Just as a writer, like, what did you have with that short story? A page or two? And then how do you turn that into a script, and who wrote it?
My sister adapted it, and she and her writing partner, Josh Salzberg, adapted it and did a brilliant job. And they explored and heightened the story, which, you know, he's known for his brilliant plays, Death of a Salesman, and his writing is so incredible and reveals the complexity of our lives and does it so beautifully and poetically. You know, as a writer, like, I'm sure you grew up reading Arthur Miller.
No.
You didn't.
I grew up watching wrestling.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
This
guy,
you're dead to me.
I read Death of a Salesman. And one thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Miller wrote this story, and he was very good at trying to get to the heart of the human condition.
Yes.
Obviously, Willie Loman or any of the other characters that he wrote and had talking. Was there any truth did this event actually happen? Was there something like this that happened that Miller then expounded upon?
Well, it's interesting because this was Miller's really his last work, and it was his response to 9/11. And this is not a true story, and yet everyone that sees or hears about it thinks it is a true story.
It plays like that.
Yeah, and you know, so he has this brilliant imagination, and he imagined this character, Harold May, that desperately wants to make it in this life and is willing to compromise everything that he has. And it's a cautionary tale.
The tap dancing.
Yeah.
Did you know how to tap dance? Did it take you 15 years? Is that why it took so long to make?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, that's another thing to get back to the beginning of our conversation and this, to tap into our spiritual side. We have to relinquish control and wrap our arms around divine timing. Because the reality is I wanted this to go right away. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to do it. I want to make it. And the universe had a different timeline for me. And here we are at a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise. And this was the time to make it. And every time I pitched the film, they laughed in my face. No one wanted to put up, people want to make a very affordable, contemporary, cheap film that's an indie film. And I say 1937, and I'm a tap dancer. And they immediately go, check, please, and they leave.
Well, part of that's a period piece is very expensive.
Yeah.
Like everything has to be 1937. So
including
I understand
the cars.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you have to rent them. We had these stunning cars.
So where did you find the money?
Ultimately, there's my producing partner, Daniel Finkelman, stepped up and bless him. He was my angel. And making this film, if we made the behind the scenes, the making of the film, it would be fascinating because we were shut down. You know, we run out of money. I have to somehow get on a plane, jump on a plane and go perform and do stand up to get the money to finish the film, to go out and beg. I begged a guy at a cigar lounge, and he was another one of my angels who put up the money just in time to keep the film going.
No way.
I'm producing the film as well, and I've got to keep it moving. So I'm doing the best work of my life, but I'm doing it at the speed of light. And I decide to not use my stunt double while I'm getting the scene as I'm being beaten by the Nazis. There's a younger, better looking, stronger Turkish gentleman who looks. Who knew that? You don't know what you look like until you have to find a double. I'm like, what do I look like? Who am I? And there's this Turkish dude who looks just like me. I'm like, I'm Turkish. Okay, let's go. And instead of letting him do the scene, I did it myself. I broke 8 ribs.
Come on.
I swear to you, one take. It's in the film.
What's breaking your ribs? Foot or
me? Because I'm a dummy. Because there's no pad.
So you're falling.
I get kicked in the stomach, and I throw myself in the air, and I land on my side, opening up for camera, break 8 ribs. And what it sounds like, just so you know, empty a bottle of water, and then crinkle it. That's what your ribs sound like when you break 8.
Give us a little of that right now.
Well, it's a
cinema verite.
Yes.
And then they can't do anything for it. They
can't
wrap
do a
you
thing
up.
for it, but I played through. But by the way,
it's so painful.
Our Slovakian producer goes, "You're fine. You didn't break your ribs." And I said, no, they're broken. And he goes, we're going to take you to the oldest hospital in Bratislava. I said, take me to the newest hospital. I don't want the oldest. They took me to the oldest hospital. And I think it was an insane asylum because there were, I swear to God, there were people mopping up and they were kind of like, okay, let's go. And they sent me, they're like, you're fine, you can go home. And I couldn't breathe. I knew they were broken.
Yeah.
So I keep playing through. The next scene that we shoot is me underwater and my sister's directing and she's like, stay underwater. And they told me that if you get water in your lungs with broken ribs, you could die. But look
why is that?
You can't. That's why they don't let you fly.
Because you need to be able to respiration. You cannot fully respirate and get the fluid out of your lungs.
Can we show a clip from your movie? Can we show your trailer?
Absolutely. I would love that.
Let's do that.
Dude, let's give the people just a reference for what we're talking about, for the love of God.
Okay, here it is. From your new movie, The Performance, starring Jeremy Piven.
We're broke because I love to dance. Mate, you are a true artist. How would you like to perform at the Kick Club? on performance. Who do you work for?
Harold doesn't even look Jewish.
We'll be in and out in 2 days.
People like you are trying to get out of there.
Wake up! I've never had a house. I've never had a family. And you're gonna tell me I can't go for what I deserve. So, let's go out there and give them a show.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, we're just gonna waltz out of Berlin with our special little group.
Amazing.
Wow.
Look at that. Who's your DP? I mean, I know you're a terrific actor, but who the hell is your DP?
You know,
That lighting is spectacular.
yeah, Leo Udnik. Leo is an Israeli gentleman who has never shot a feature before, and he's on about 250 commercials.
Wow.
And he's one of these guys. Leo is just, he's a genius and he's a mensch, and everything creatively couldn't have worked out better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No matter what, everything I've been through in my life led to me, not to be too dramatic, giving the performance of my life. And it's funny, I played Ari Gold for a decade, and all the questions were, how much are you really like Ari?
We have a lot of those questions.
Yeah, but and so the real question is, how much of an asshole are you really?
Right.
That's what they really want to know.
Yeah.
And Ari Emanuel is a brilliant agent and now, prolific entrepreneur and owns everything. And so he exists, and that guy exists. And I'm a stage actor from Chicago, but this character is more like me than anything I've ever played in my life. At times it felt like a documentary. So that's why it's the performance, many reasons why. But is there a Hitler in the movie? Yeah.
There was a little.
Did you have to?
That little snippet?
Yeah. Did you have to cast the Hitler? What was that casting like?
Well, not only was he genius and it was eerie, but he wanted to talk to me in between takes.
Who?
And I don't want to talk to Hitler.
Hitler.
You know what I mean?
Wait,
It's
the actor who played Hitler?
It's like, brother, I've never been so rude to anyone in my life.
But but was there a session where a bunch of Hitlers were sitting on a couch and
I wasn't a part of the Hitler casting call. Thank God.
Okay.
That's great. I tell you, that trailer was so impressive. So impressive. The period costumes, everything I saw.
It's great, right?
Was brilliant.
Yeah. When you see this film, it's,
So it's not eligible for awards this year.
Oh, it is.
It is.
1,000%.
So it's already been in theaters.
Yeah, we had a week run in Chicago.
Oh, I see.
So it's eligible for awards.
All right.
And that was amazing. I'm from Chicago, and that was absolutely incredible. And so we'll wait and see.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about RaceDeck. Over 2 decades ago, RaceDeck was invented, a cost-effective, durable, and truly do-it-yourself modular flooring system engineered for the garage. There it is, Zuckerman. Look, we have new visual images of the RaceDeck garages. Is that your Lamborghini, Zuckerman? In 1997, Jürgen Muller invented RaceDeck from his wife's dance floor business. Soon after, he thought, let's put this stuff in guys' garages and make them look great. Now Zuckerman has a RaceDeck garage. I have a RaceDeck hangar at Santa Monica Airport. I can't tell you how much I love it. I see it at the Indy Long Beach Grand Prix. They all have RaceDeck there. It can handle vehicle rolling loads in excess of 80,000 pounds. Will not chip, peel, or stain. Over 33 patents with the product line. They ship it real quick. They manufacture 24/7. Most orders go out in 2 days. You need it. If your garage floor isn't right, get it. Shop at racedeck.com and use code SPIKE911 for 15% off and free shipping. And we thank RaceDeck for sponsoring the show. All right, let's talk stand-up.
Let's do it.
First segment was about movies.
Yes.
By the way, I'm loving this show. I talk about cars way too much.
Okay.
Now we're in the other part of my life, the entertainment part of my life. And we do have a Bentley behind us that we will chat about in a second.
Yeah.
New hybrid electric Bentley Continental GT.
Crazy.
But I have been fascinated with your stand-up career since you started doing it, because I know firsthand how hard it is to jump onto that stage. And I attempted it. I think maybe 10 years ago, and I felt like I'm too old to go at this right now. I had been on TV doing comedy. I liked working off a teleprompter and writing stuff, but I was with Barry Sobel, the comedian, and we were just heading out to clubs and doing stand-up, and I went, boy, I'm really at the very beginning stages of this. And the only reason I bring it up is I'm so impressed where you're at right now. And I want to know, like, what did it take to get there? What was that very first moment where you said, all right, we call it the Piven pivot. I'm going to pivot out of acting right now, and I'm going to do stand-up. And then what was that very first night on stage like?
I was thrown into the fire immediately. You have to understand that every performer is different. Right. Everyone's journey is different. And I really do understand why stand-ups are so precious about their space.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult. And their thing is, how long you been doing it? And that's their first question. And by the way, I get it because they've been doing it their whole lives, and the first 20 years is just hell, and they're on the road and they're just grinding, and I get all that. And so for anyone else to do it faster feels disrespectful to their process.
I don't know.
Well, because you're different, but my point is that I crawled up on stage at 8 years old. I started butchering great works of art. I was butchering Chekhov and a lot of really great, works of art early on. And then, working at the Piven Theater with my family and doing improv and sketch comedy. And then I ended up at Second City with Chris Farley in the 90s. And then, fast forward, working as an actor and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But my point to you is, because I've been on stage my whole life, because I've been improvising, because even in roles, I'm always pitching ideas and jokes and blah, blah, blah. All roads kind of led to stand up.
Right.
And age, sure,
I only brought up age because it was just hard for me to walk out the door at 10 o'clock at night and stay out till 1 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Correct.
Right. I just didn't have that drive.
Yeah, it's hard to stay hungry. You got to be really hungry.
Exactly right.
And you have to throw away any idea of age.
So who are your favorite stand-ups? Let's start there.
Growing up, I mean, it's pretty typical, but, George Carlin and even, seeing a little bit of Lenny Bruce, who obviously started all of this, and really Eddie Murphy, like the guy that and Richard Pryor, and seeing these guys, and Richard Pryor to me is a brilliant actor where he does these act outs. And then what really, he's going to hate hearing this, what really secured it for me was Sebastian Maniscalco, because the thing about Sebastian is, Sebastian to me looks like an actor doing stand-up because he's so physical. And he's going to hate this, but I looked at it and went, I might be able to do that, which is the worst thing you can say to a stand-up.
His physicality makes you think that.
Yeah.
You can't, because we know how hard that is. But I thought the same thing when I saw it. And, Jerry does more of that now with act outs. These act outs you're talking about, acting out the thing that you're talking about, gets very big laughs. And when you do see it, you can be tricked into thinking that if I just do this move or this funny walk, I can get the same laughs as Sebastian Maniscalco. You will not. But I understand that attraction.
Well, your initial question to me was, what did it feel like at first? I mean,
I want to know that first night. You're on a stage. You've written some material. You've memorized it, I'm guessing.
Well, it's a two-part answer to that. And I went up at the Laugh Factory, and Russell Peters was hosting this toy drive for kids. And so I do my homework. I'm not a dummy. I just have to know the setting. So Russell, there's very few people as good at crowd work as Russell. So I knew, okay, Russell's brilliant at crowd work, and he respects me as an actor, but he's going to throw me into the fire. So, even though I'm an improviser, that's not my space. Let me have a couple bits that I can somehow come up with to bail myself out in case I go blank, hit the wall, whatever. So I just remember being up there with him, and I've been on stage my whole life. And I remember the stage is tiny at the Laugh Factory. And I remember immediately getting short of breath and going, oh, this is different. This is terrifying. And I was pinned up against the wall and I couldn't get off the wall. And he's like, get off the wall. What are you doing? So he peeled me off the wall. And again, this is the difference between, decades as an actor and the difference with stand-up. It's terrifying. So he kind of, and the thing about Russell also is he's everyman. He's brown. So he can take shots at anyone. Mm-hmm. And so that also was terrifying because, I just look like a white rich dude that needs to shut the fuck up, right? And so like he's taking shots at everyone. So I got to navigate, this, tight culture now.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got up there and I remember I thought I hit the wall because it's not so easy to do crowd work, especially if you haven't done it. And so I kind of threw out one of my bits and it landed and I was hooked. Wow. I was just hooked because, when you get that laugh and I'm like, wait a minute, this could work. And then I knew intrinsically that I needed to do a couple hundred shows at least a year.
Do you write your stuff ahead of time or do you have an idea of what you're going to talk about and try to figure it out?
I mean, what's so great is, you got these voice notes. So something comes to you and you put it down and you go through it and then you write it and you work it out and then you organically try to pitch it to people in your life or whatever. I always pitch stuff to my mom and my mom is very, she's very honest with me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And, if I get her to laugh, it's huge. But I also...
Can you trust a mom laugh though? I mean, moms are so damn supportive of everything.
Yeah, my mom is different. My mom's an actor and a teacher. She's been my acting teacher since I was 8 years old.
Wow.
And so she's... but at the same time,
what does she say? She goes,
well, sometimes I can really offend her.
Jeremy, why would you say that?
Yeah, no, there's
you made a terrible movie there.
No.
What movie did she hate that you made? Did she go, that was a huge...
There was a movie called Very Bad Things in which I played a character that thinks the stripper loves him. And because I always wanted to play that character.
Yeah.
That guy's like, she totally gets me. It's like, are you a fucking idiot? And so I'm with the stripper in the bathroom and I impale her on a hook and I kill her by accident.
Oh.
And at that moment, and we're both naked. And just before that scene, I said, Mom, let's take a walk because I can't, there's certain things a mom can't see. A mom can't see her son killing a hooker. It just, you know what I mean? It just, even though she's an artist. You do. You understand.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think we all understand that. Yes.
So I took her out and we walked around the lobby and then I walked her back in. But by the way, I talk about this on stage. Everything I've said is already gold. I've said to my mom's face. And then I do this act out of me doing a verbatim monologue, a rant, one of Ari's rants, which is so offensive. And my mom stays in the pocket. She's there with the script because she knows it's fiction, man.
Yeah.
This is a character. So she's seen and heard it all.
Let's show a clip from your stand-up.
Guess who the highest paid actor in Hollywood is? The Rock, right. He's never taken an acting class. Do I sound bitter? Because I am. Yeah. I'm performing in a mall next to a Dave & Buster's, right? So I'm a little bitter. Yeah. He's on a celebrity space shuttle right now counting his money with Kevin Hart, coming up with their next movie, right? By the way, can you hear me in the back? You want to know why? Because I took an acting class.
Fantastic, Jeremy Piven. He does it all. We can fix the clip and editing. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about more of your shows, but first, I want to talk about this car that I brought today. This Bentley Continental GT Hybrid. And there it is. The 21-year tradition, 4th generation, the new Bentley Continental GT Speed. Guess what this car costs, Jeremy?
I would say that car cost $346,000.
You would be $60,000 short, my friend.
Oh, that's, how much is it?
$400,000. That's a $400,000 car.
Man, if I had 1.2 million, I'd get 3.
Fully specced out. It's beautiful. It's an amazing thing. What's new about this Continental GT Speed is it's a hybrid. The color is called Kingfisher, and the interior is Kingfisher and Imperial Blue. It's a 4-liter V8 working in tandem with a 190 horsepower electric motor, 0 to 60, 3.1 seconds Zuckerman. The result is it has the benefit of 50 miles of all electric range. So when you start it and it's charged up, like just driving around the West Side, I'm in an electric mode. It's a silent Bentley. And then you turn it into sport mode and it jams like the previous version of the Continental GT, but it also charges the battery. Remember the 918 would do that?
Right.
And it's I've had it for a week now and I love it.
You do.
I think Chris Harris has one too right now, and he posted like I'm not a Bentley guy. I can't get out of a Bentley and feel comfortable and feel like I'm doing good in the world. I've been flipped off a few times in it.
Yeah,
just for driving it.
But you know,
however, you know, we took it to Malibu, my wife and I and our son with his broken leg, and we had just a lovely drive, and you know, and now with that plug-in hybrid. Motor and those electric miles. You can see on the back there. Hey, Cameron, show on the back. It's got on one fender. You put the gas in it. And then if you go to the other fender, look at this. You charge it on the other side. Go over to the other side there.
Oh, wow. It's got it all.
And then you can charge it right there.
Okay.
Just don't put the gas in the electric. Then go inside. Here, check this out. You'll like this. At one point, I was like, there's so much technology in this car. Look at how beautiful the interior is.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's so much technology in it. It's got these seats with massage functions in it, but it also has like a posture function. So if it senses that you're not sitting up straight, it pokes you like that.
That's your mother.
And I haven't been able to turn that off, but show them what the dash does. If you get tired of the technology, and then, okay, there's your tech, right? Apple CarPlay will come up on that. If you get tired of the technology, press the screen button. And look at this. You've got a little bit of analog fun right there.
Okay.
So you can kind of take.
But they really know comfort. So when you said you love driving, and I know the Jewish guilt about having a lot of money, but you got to put that aside. They know how to make you feel comfortable, right?
This car is beyond comfortable. It's very, very nice, and it does everything you want it to do. And it's Porsche underneath, and I can't say enough good things about it. I'm just not a Bentley guy. But if you are, this is an exceptional new version of the Continental GP.
It would be hard for me to say the color. If people ask me, what color is your car? And I had to say, Kingfisher. Kingfisher would be, it does sound a little pretentious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Kingfisher.
What
blue.
would you call that?
Don't you know that?
Yeah.
I just call it blue.
It looks like sapphire blue to me, right? Sapphire blue metallic.
That's a little much Kingfisher.
But have you seen, do you know the bird, the Kingfisher?
I know what a king, it stands on one leg, doesn't it?
I used to like birds when I was a kid until too many kids made fun of me. But I was like a little ornithologist guy until somebody shamed me for it in the 5th grade. But the Kingfisher is a pretty cool bird.
Well, it eats fish, right?
Huh?
It eats
But
fish.
it's got that shiny blue coat. And that's what Bentley decided to make their car out of.
Do you get used to it? Do you get used to being a big shot?
Yes.
Like Jeremy said you do?
Very quickly. So if we had time to smoke cigars, I would say, Jeremy, you and I would get into this car after the show and we just drive down Sunset Boulevard smoking cigars. Do you like Cuban cigars?
Love them.
Okay. I'm going to have to get you some of these Monte Cristos. They are some of the best cigars, the best cigar I've ever smoked in my life. They're fantastic.
I love it.
It's just this batch for some reason.
Okay.
It has an effect upon him, a very strange effect.
It makes me happy.
Very wordy. He speaks really fast. He repeats things. He's very happy. He's very, he starts to get like a little connected and emotional.
Yeah.
There's some dopamine release happening.
Well,
That's
I mean,
strange.
tobacco.
That's a good cigar.
Yeah, tobacco it can be very grounding. So he gets grounded, and then he from being grounded, he gets more energy and he gets more interesting.
He hates it. He doesn't.
I don't like the
cigars.
smell, but they act like they just went in the bathroom and did a big bag.
Okay.
Or something. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Acre Gold. Don't come out of pocket for expensive gold all at once. Instead, subscribe to Ari Gold for as little as $30 a month. No, it's Acre. But Acre should get Ari. Ari should meet Acre. That's a commercial. You want some money? Should we make you some money for your movie?
Yeah, let's go.
Ari Gold for Acre Gold.
There we go. Let's
How it
go.
works.
Sign me up.
Pay in every month until your gold stash reaches the price of Acre Gold bars. Then Acre discreetly ships to your home. Acre Gold also has $50, $100, $250 per month options for larger gold bars. Acre is backed by the same team who funded Liquid Death, canned water. Some customers have been subscribed for over 4 years. And I'm one of them. I have those little gold cards up there.
Ari Gold for Acre Gold. Let's go.
That's huge.
Let's put the pitch in.
They're going to love that. And they probably will do that. Thank you for sponsoring
You
the
guys
show.
have come a
Acre
long
Gold.
way. You had no sponsors in the beginning, and now you have sponsors.
We have lots of wonderful sponsors.
I love it. Congratulations.
Well, we have to pay for production now. And by the way, stop getting mad that I have to read commercials. Do you want this show or not? Do you want it? Then let me read the ads. Sorry. I apologize.
He was breaking the fourth wall. That was adorable.
Yes. Well, that's what the camera's for. I love talking to the folks on YouTube. There's so much more to talk about here, and I have questions too, but let's go through some of these shows. I get really excited when I see you on, because I go on your IMDb and I forget how much stuff you've done. Let's start with Entourage.
Fuck, I'm coming over. That was Vince, I gotta go. I gotta go do this. It's 24/7 with this shit, baby. I love you, don't wait up, okay?
Ari, could I have the car keys, please?
Come on! There's a cab stand at fucking Yucca.
Give me the fucking keys.
You drop me off?
I'm sure you've been asked about it a million times. And did I tell you this? I met early on with somebody about running that show coming out of Seinfeld. I didn't get the gig, but I remember hearing about it and go, this is really great. You got Mark Wahlberg. It's going to be a show based on his life and his friends. And at what point did they bring you into it?
It was just a casting process, and it was a turning point moment for me as an actor because they wanted me to come in and audition, and it was one scene in the pilot. And by then, I'm, in my late 30s. I'm 40 movies into a career and was doing leads and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, well, wait a minute. If it's one scene, can I just meet with them? Because that's the dream as an actor, just meet.
Right.
You know my work, let's meet. And they're like, no, you have to read. And so, and I remember I stood up for myself and I was like, no, guys, we have to stand up for ourselves. Let this be. Yeah. They're like, they're going to go away. They're going to go away.
Wow.
And I was like, well, let's take the chance. We took the chance and they came back. Okay, meeting only. And
did you meet with Mark Wahlberg or just Doug Ellen?
Doug Ellen. And it was the team then.
Did Mark Wahlberg get involved in the show in any way?
Yeah, he goes to the bank and he catches all the delightful checks. He does a really nice job. And then, he does a couple power chants in the morning and then a couple Hail Marys. I digress. So basically, Doug Ellen and Wahlberg's then manager, Steve Levinson.
Right.
He was the executive producer of the show. And you go in and I wore the suit and I knew Ari Emanuel. He was my agent. I knew all the intricacies of the world. And so I presented what I thought would be Ari Gold and kind of gave him the energy and wore the suit. And here we are. So it worked out.
Was there ever a moment with Ari Emanuel where he came to set or pulled you aside later
Never.
on and said, hey, I'm not happy about this, or I love this, or
I would hear from outside sources, listen, if we got it wrong, we would have heard. You know what? You know that old saying, like they say that about my stand-up. They say, you know how we know you're doing all right? Because it's silent. Because if you sucked, everyone would be laughing their asses off. And so you just have to embrace the silence. As Ari says, silence is golden.
Yeah. But people can, a powerful person can get upset. I remember being told once, all right, you made a joke about Rupert Murdoch. Don't do it again. I was at Fox at the time. You got away with it once at the upfronts. I had some joke about him. He was, I portrayed him as the Six Flags guy. Remember with the bald head dancing? Da, 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 da. Yeah. And they had forgotten to run it by him. And we're at the upfronts and Rupert was backstage. And they said, before you go out, we have to run this joke by Rupert. I go, now? I go, what if he says no? Well, then you can't do it, And it was a big joke in this thing that I was doing. And he liked it, but I was told, he watched it, he didn't laugh, but don't do it again. And, that's sometimes that can happen. I would worry that Ari Emanuel might be really pissed off, but it sounds like he was fine with it.
Then Ari was his agent that was incredibly powerful. Now it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he's got so much going on. He owns the UFC and whatnot. And so I don't even think he really has time to be a talent agent.
Did you ever influence stories? And did you ever have a moment where you were like, this character wouldn't do that and affect a script?
my job, listen, that's one of the reasons why I ended up doing stand-up, because, I love to be a part of the creative process, and I would pitch jokes, and, Doug Ellen did a brilliant job. Certainly, writing and certainly writing my character. It was amazing. But I always love to, let me throw out a bunch of ideas. They may all suck, you know what I mean? But let me try. So their whole thing was, you do it word for word, like your Haftorah portion. Every week was my Haftorah portion. And my job was to make it all feel improvisational. By the way, there's nothing interesting about that. That's what actors do. I've just basically my job, make it all
But it sounds like you did. It sounds like you did influence story, or you tried and you pitched and...
No, I didn't influence anything.
No.
There was nothing influenced.
No. You just did what was written. And,
correct.
Yeah.
And it was,
by the way, I love what an actor brings to the page, because they always add new things, even if they are reading the script word for word. As a writer, frequently I miss the little laughs in performance that an actor will add, right? I always use the Elaine Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the get out. It's not my line, but you write that line down, get out. It's not funny, but then she goes, get out.
Yeah.
Right. And there's the laugh. Right.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's process is different. It would be really fun to work with you and to throw stuff out there and bounce it back and forth. Mm-hmm. In this particular case, Doug wrote a brilliant script, and it became very clear that, it needs to be word for word.
Okay.
And so that's the way it was. And then you have to find freedom within that. Like I would take Joyce Piven, my mother, and we would just run it. So by the time I hit set, it was like I was in the second month of a Broadway run where I feel comfortable and you just do it.
And you were winning you won Emmys in 2006 and 2007.
I won 3 Emmys in a row, but who's counting?
3 in a row.
Yeah.
So I watched the 2007 on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's you against Rainn Wilson, John Cryer, Kevin Dillon from the show, and Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
And you win. And you could tell everybody wanted you to win. I mean, Hollywood loved that character, and they loved doing it. So did you win 2008 as well, or 2005?
I won 3 years in a row.
That's amazing.
And then
you thanked your dad, which was emotional the first time.
Yeah.
Then you thanked him the second year.
Yeah, I mean, my father was my acting teacher as well, both my parents, and he was also a director and was this incredible man. And he never got to see me do this role, and so it was good to have my moment. It felt right.
You were funny too, because you said, "I have to take a moment to thank the crew. I wish I knew their names. I don't, but I'm sure they're good." That is a very brave joke to do at the Emmys, but everyone is with you and laughs really hard at it. And do you remember that joke?
Then I had no reference for stand-up, so I was so dumb. I was so dumb that I prepared nothing.
Yeah.
So I got up there, and it just kind of came out of me.
It's a good joke. It really made me laugh when I watched it.
Wow,
yesterday.
you were the only one, because it was like looking at an oil painting.
No.
They were it was the reading of a will. Because they were silent. That joke did not go over in the room.
No, it did go over because it's in character. You're doing a joke as Ari Emanuel. But I thought it was great. It really made me laugh, and I thought it was really edgy. Let's talk about Larry Sanders. Another hit show, another giant show. Yeah. You and I are on the lot together because Larry Sanders is on the same lot, CBS Radford, as Seinfeld. And you play writer Jerry Capin or Capin?
Jerry Capin.
Jerry Capin.
Yeah.
And I think the show is being run by a former Letterman writer who I had worked with, Paul Simms.
Correct.
Who was...
The brilliant Paul Simms.
The brilliant Paul Simms, always coming to visit us after he left Letterman and say, hey, what's going on? And we'd be, nothing. And he goes, what? Nothing on the intern staff? And I'm like, yeah, we got a weird intern going around. He goes, tell me about the weird intern. And then I would watch the show later on, and then I'd see the weird intern. Did you base this writer character on Simms?
Look, at that show was genius. It really was. It wasn't, popular like your show, but everyone that knew the show loved it, and all the insiders went, this is a great show, obviously. And Shandling was one of these guys who was a brilliant stand-up and an actor and loved the process of acting. So he had both worlds that he was doing at the same time.
Yeah.
And he was just a genius. And I was just kind of there. You know, I didn't have much to do, but I thought if I play this character, if I play this character like he's the head writer, but if I play him as a guy that doesn't think he's that funny at all, and he just doesn't want to get found out. So I had a little into it. But the reality is I'm surrounded by Jeffrey Tambor and Rip Torn and Shandling and all these geniuses.
Yeah.
And I was just out of college. And I don't know if I told you the story of when I did Seinfeld, but I'm walking across the lot and Mark Hirschfeld said, you know, hey, Jeremy, how's it going? And I was like, oh, because they know everyone. You know, that's their job to know everyone. Hey, do you want to audition for Seinfeld? And I hear audition and I'm like, yeah. Now, I'm a regular on a TV show, but I am a stage actor from Chicago, so I'm so dumb, I don't realize that I have money. So I'm living in a pool house. I don't know if I told you this story. I'm living in a pool house, but I'm a regular on a TV show.
Yeah.
Paul Sims came over and he goes, why are you the pool boy? You're a series regular. And I was like, that's a good, I don't know what's going on. So he said, would you come in and audition to play George?
Yeah.
Costanza.
Yeah.
And forgive me.
Now it's George Costanza in the NBC pilot, the pilot within the show. It's not the show.
But you have to understand, and no disrespect, I had never seen your show.
I hadn't either until I went to work for it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had no TV.
Yeah.
I had no TV. I'm living in the pool house. I have no TV. And so immediately I'm like, yes, I would love to audition. Now I can't audition. I'm on a show, right? But I'm a hungry actor. I want to, more work. Let's do it. So I
watched that scene.
I knew Jason Alexander. I knew him from, I had a little tiny role in a movie with him, and I would talk to him. And so I went in and just kind of cobbled together what I thought Jason would do. And they were like, oh my God, you must be a huge fan of the show. And I was like, yes, I am. And I'd never seen it. And listen, I went and did Seinfeld and worked on that show and had never seen it, thank God. Because had I seen it, had I known about, they're the Beatles. So I wasn't.
I can't even understand that. Here, the scene, let's show the scene.
Yeah, well, what are we looking at here? I mean, is this guy like a real loser?
No, not a loser.
Let's start with the second scene. You have it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
A man gave me a massage.
So?
In that scene we just saw, where you're auditioning for the part of George, and George is sitting where the producers sit, and Jerry's sitting there, by the way, doing the same things he would do when the right actor walked into the room, leaning forward, and just, you can't believe the actor just walked in. But I was watching your audition in that clip, just going, it's perfect. I don't know how, if you're saying you never watched the show, how did you know how to play that guy?
Because I had talked with Jason.
But Jason isn't like George. But Larry's like George.
I know, I know, think about all the variations of George.
I know.
Think about Larry directing me with Jason watching me, and he's really directing himself. There are 3 generations of George. That's very surreal.
You know what? We should reboot the NBC show within the show.
That would be amazing.
That's the reboot we've been looking for right there.
There you go.
That's an idea.
That's a meta situation.
Fantastic. Well, I thought it was pretty amazing. But look at that. I mean, Entourage, Larry Sanders, and Seinfeld. Amazing. And I had a question about Mark Hirschfeld, but you just answered it. All right, let's keep going. I think I brought this up before, but you're also credited on the Dana Carvey show. It says uncredited part Spence Kovac. Is that true? Because, I wrote on that show. But I don't remember seeing you there, but I was only there for half the season.
Well, I was playing Spence Kovac on Ellen's show. I was a series regular. That was the name of my character. And we were all filming in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so they said, would you come in and do a cameo? And I did some sort of a cameo, but it was incredibly forgettable.
Wow. In Vegas?
In Vegas.
They shot an episode in Vegas?
Yes.
Well, that was before my time. You were in Heat?
I mean,
that's an amazing movie.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. You have to understand, this is me grinding before Entourage.
Right.
And I'll never forget it. You audition for everything, and I have one line as a doctor in Heat, and I'm sitting.
What's the line?
First of all, the way I would expand every one of my roles is I would just keep talking. So, I tell him basically what's going on. I can't remember the exact dialogue. Some doctors speak, and then they're supposed to yell cut. And De Niro goes, "Give me your shirt." And they don't yell cut. So I go, no, you can't. My daughter gave me this shirt.
Take off your shirt.
What? My daughter gave it to me.
I don't give a shit who gave it to you. Take it off.
So I'm just improvising, and it all made the film. But that's what I would do. I would take these tiny roles and, just keep going until, and you're
were you terrified facing off with De Niro at that point in your career?
I'm terrified, but it's like, it's the dream. You finally get to match up against Michael Jordan, and, you're just ready for the fight.
Right.
Now, in the audition, what happens to an actor is after the first hour, you're sitting there waiting and you're like, okay, I'm going to play Dr. Bob. And if I get this, I get to work with De Niro. Just hang in there, buddy. You got this. 1 hour goes by, 2 hours goes by, 3 hours go by. Now people are losing their minds at the 3 hour mark. So I watched an actor. I wish I could. I can't really
come unglued.
Completely unglued. And he took the casting assistant and he lifted him off the ground. And I'm going, no. I knew him. I was like, bro, don't, please don't. And at that moment, the door bursts open and Michael Mann comes out. And, it didn't go well. So anyway, so he's done. It's a little less competition for me. So I go in there, right?
Yeah.
Michael Mann, for hours, he's writing. I'm going, oh my God, this is amazing. He's taking notes on his actors. And I look closely, he's writing Christmas cards for 3 hours. He's been writing Christmas cards. So I'm like, don't crack, stay in it. You can get this role. You get to work with De Niro. Stay in it.
He's writing Christmas cards.
This is the greatest.
It's life or death for you. Yeah. And this guy's filling out his Christmas cards. Michael Mann.
If my advice to anyone, if you can hold on, if you don't crack, the other side of that is you get to be in a movie with De Niro.
How much weight can you take? How much weight?
Yeah. I'm impressed that he writes his own Christmas cards.
Yeah.
He doesn't farm that out to his assistant
anymore.
So I do the scene, and Bonnie Timmerin, the great Bonnie Timmerin's, great work, Jeremy, great. And Michael Mann has got a hardcore Chicago accent. He's got the little glasses. He goes, "That was good. Do it again. That was hard. That was nice. It was a Dr. Bob. That was good. Do it again. And I do it again. He goes, "I got to call Bob. This could be the guy." And Bonnie goes, it's one scene. You just hire him. He goes, "No, I got to call Bob. Because he's got to run everything by De Niro." And I'm just sitting there going, and so I got lucky. And
so wait, did he call Bob in that moment?
She talked him out of it. And I ended up getting the role, and you just got to stay in it. Yeah, but I did, 40 of those before Entourage.
Right.
I won the Fresh Face of the Year at 40 years old.
At 40.
And I said, "There's nothing fresh about my face at all, but thank you." So kids, if you stay in it, you could be 200 years old and be a working actor. This has turned very sad.
This is the end of working actors. It's almost over. So kids, keep in mind, there's only like 2 years left in showbiz. And then it's all TikTok. That's your fault, kids. Let's answer some questions. Can you stay for just a couple questions? I know you have a very busy life.
Absolutely.
Your mom's visiting for the holidays. Is that what's going on?
My mom is I'm going to go light the candles with her.
Oh, that's nice.
On the 6th night of Hanukkah. Or well, you can't say that because this comes out later.
This is New Year's Day today. It's New Year's Day.
I love it.
This is our New Year's Day show. We're starting the year fresh. 2025 is about Jeremy Piven.
Let's go.
Here we go.
We're all going to win this year.
The Driving Emotions wants to know, do you have a car collection? What does it look like? I don't think you do. You had a beautiful Bronco, I remember. And you were on this show talking about, I want to get a Porsche. There are lots of people asking, did you ever get the Porsche?
It's funny because I talked to Jerry. and I want to be a car guy. I'm like the antithesis of you guys. I mean, it's embarrassing. You saw what I pulled up in.
You had a nice Tesla. What's wrong with that?
It's sad.
I saw a really funny. I saw Zuckerman. I'm on the 405, and there's a Tesla in front of me with a bumper sticker that says, "Love the car, hate the guy." Have you seen that? And I thought, oh, there you go. That guy addressed it. But I love Teslas. What's wrong with that?
I will say that, my God, is it fast.
Yeah.
The pickup is just insanity.
Somebody asked about, are you still making your cigar? I feel like we covered that.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I want to be a car guy. I look at that Porsche and I go, my God, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Which one are you attracted to
the
here?
58.
This 58 speed.
Oh, they right there over my shoulder, right? That car. Well, that's it. Yeah. If you're attracted to that, you're on the right track.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just love that. And I remember saying to Seinfeld, like, I'm thinking, I love what if I got one of those new Targas? And he goes, no, that's a great idea. If you were if you did real estate, if you were a real estate broker and you drove that.
Guess what he just bought?
He just bought one.
A Targa.
A new Targa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember coming down on you for Targas too, but now I'm a Targa guy.
I love Targas. I love them.
That's okay. How did Jeremy and John Cusack get paired together in so many great films? Is that just pure dumb luck?
No, John and I at 8 years old crawled up on stage at the Piven Theater, and my mother cast us in the Seagull, and so we traded. We were up performing together, and we went to NYU together. We started a theater company. We did 9 movies together, so it's not by accident.
There's a lot about Don Reddy. Is it Reddy or Reedy from The Goods?
Don Reddy. Yeah.
That's it. I didn't know this movie. This movie is completely under my radar, the radar. And I was like, what are they talking about? What is The Goods? You play a used car salesman. It was Will Ferrell and I think Funny or Die, that whole crew that produced it. Neil Brennan, one of the funniest stand-ups, and for me, one of my favorite stand-ups, and an amazing writer from the Chappelle Show, directed it, which I didn't know he was a director. Tell us about that movie. And then I started watching clips. It's really funny.
It's a really, really...
When did this movie come out?
About 10 years ago. It's a really funny movie. Very proud of it. And Craig Robinson, I mean, the cast is, Dr. Ken. It's just this really, really funny movie. And, it's just kind of luck of the draw. It's like, do they have the money and the energy to give it that big release?
To promote it, right.
And, I remember it made its money back in the first weekend, which then is like a disaster. Now it's like,
come on,
you're the biggest hit of the year.
Yeah.
So listen, it's just really, I'm a used car salesman, and it's just a really funny, twisted movie that I play a guy that's the most un-PC dude you've ever seen in your life. He convinces them to let him smoke on a plane.
Sir, if you like that, I'll have to report you to the FAA.
Stacy, do you know when the first commercial flight went smokeless?
I remember the scene. Yeah, I watched that scene. It's funny.
It's just it's one of these movies where like it runs on Comedy Central all the time.
In singles. This is Manita94. No one ever uses their name on Instagram except, you. Me. Not even you, Zuckerman.
I'm Zuckerman.
You're just Zuckerman? Plain Zuckerman? Okay, in singles, which I didn't know you were in singles, but I actually really like that movie. Did Jeremy add the line about mixing Elvis Costello and Public Enemy, or was that Cameron Crowe?
There's an example where there was nothing written. So it's very interesting. Where like Cameron Crowe, the brilliant Cameron Crowe, said to me, hey man, can you come in and I'm doing this movie Singles and just come in and improvise? And I was like, oh my God, that's the dream. I'm an improviser. So I just improvised that entire monologue.
You're the only man I know who can mix up Elvis Costello and Public Enemy. What's so funny about peace, 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 love and under peace, 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 death row, what does a brother understand? Peace, peace,
death row, what does a brother know? Peace, peace, peace. And I just started doing this whole kind of mashup. They ended up having to pay Elvis Costello and Public Enemy. So they thought they were saving money, because I cost $270. They ended up having to pay, I think it was $18,000, just for the rights.
Wow. There are a lot of questions about your mercury levels and your sushi.
Oh my God.
Which I had totally forgotten about.
We don't need to, listen.
Do you remember this, Zuckerman?
I do not.
There was some sort of thing where you ate too much mercury, or I don't remember. What's even the story? And is it true, or is it now the time to come clean about it?
Unfortunately, it was very true.
So you ate?
I was on Broadway. I was doing a David Mamet play called Speed the Plow. I wasn't taking any breaks. I would go right from like rapping Entourage right into a Broadway show. And I remember I was literally just like falling asleep like in public. And I was like, what's going on? Like this is weird. Like, I just couldn't, I felt like I had Epstein-Barr. I couldn't get out of bed.
Right.
I went to the doctors. They go, you're fine. Shut up. And then one doctor goes, there's something wrong with our mercury levels, the testing of it, because you're testing this doesn't make any sense. They kept testing it. They finally went, we've never seen anyone with levels of this mercury. Now, I'd been eating nothing but fish for 20 years. I was eating everything, sushi, and like you go salad niçoise, everything. So apparently, if you eat nothing but fish twice a day for 20 years, but it's also about how we assimilate mercury. And I was severely poisoned. And so I had to chelate it out of my system. I left a Broadway show 4 months into a 6-month run. They sued me for millions of dollars. I won. Mm-hmm. They all made fun of me. And then I won, and they don't put that part out there. When you win, it's like radio silence. Leading up to it, you're the devil.
Did they have to pay for all your legal fees and everything else? No.
It's America. You don't pay for legal fees in America.
Yeah.
That's why in the UK, no one sues anyone.
That's right.
But if they did that here, it'd be a little bit different.
Yeah.
We did a podcast, it must have been 6-7 years ago now. And I seem to remember that you grew up in a very unusual circumstances. There's something about where you lived. It was really different.
Well, I grew up in the theater. We were performing, and, all of our conversations, imagine your father is your director and your acting teacher, and you're constantly in plays. I assumed that everyone had the same life I did. You know what I mean? So, the conversations were mostly about, are you really going to play it like that?
Yeah.
Over the dinner table. Other kids are like, you're going to mow the lawn. And I was getting acting notes my whole life. But listen, I wouldn't have changed anything.
Right.
I'm
But didn't you grow up in a
lucky.
nursing home or something? Or
We were poor. We were. Listen, when I say poor, I thought we were rich, and I was rich. We just didn't have any money, And I remember coming home. Like, we lived in a nursing home because you save money. My parents were stage actors in Chicago. You make $11.
But how does that work? Your parents weren't retired.
No, but you could save money by living in a retirement home. I thought everyone had a neck brace. I literally thought, okay, everyone lives in a retirement home.
So the retirement home didn't have enough old people in it. So they said, we'll bring in the Pivens.
We somehow got lucky, and you could save a little money. And it's all good. But everybody wins.
How charming is that? I mean, that seems like it's that you get right to that sitcom.
But then I play characters that are rich, and everyone assumes that it's like white privilege, a little rich white
it's
boy.
So sweet that you would say that, because obviously your parents did a great job raising you that you didn't even.
I was very lucky. Imagine being on stage, like getting to perform all the time. We didn't have any money, but I never noticed.
Do you talk about that in your stand-up?
Never.
Why not?
Because I just want to pretend being bitter. So that I could be self-deprecating and get easy laughs.
Was there like a nurse station in your rest home?
You got Jack Nicholson saying...
I want to know seriously, like what level of nursing home was this?
Skilled.
I mean, they were functioning. I just thought everyone moved slowly. Everyone was moving very slowly.
So it was an over 55 community or something, or were there like we got someone dying there. We've got to bring in a. Were there meals every day in a cafeteria?
Listen, all I know is that I came home to watch cartoons, and there was no couch, there was no coffee table. We'd been robbed, and I said, "Mom, is everything okay? Like, did the police come? We've been robbed." And she goes, "No. We're using the furniture for our play. We're doing the Seagull. We're doing Chekhov's The Seagull. We use all of our furniture for the set."
Yes.
And I was like, "Can't we just be normal?"
Right.
Why can't we just have why can't you have a normal job? So I thought, at the time I just wanted to watch cartoons. I didn't, realize how lucky I was that I was always on stage and having fun, but we were all in, like, we're going to use our furniture for the stage production. So it was a little odd. Yeah.
Was your furniture the nursing home furniture though? Was it like
you're obsessed? Like, by the way, TV, this has to be a show.
Like, no, none of us can watch TV tonight because the Pivens are doing a show.
Exactly.
But I think this is the currency that these kind of unusual childhood circumstances give so much down the line. Any kind of pain that occurred in my childhood, or some deprivation or something weird, or when my mother told my father to teach me to play baseball, and he took me outside and he saw another kid and said, "Hey, here's $10, teach him how to play baseball," right? That kind of, that helps me down the line in say in trial or relating to people. Those kind of circumstances or situations are such fodder later on, valuable fodder.
Completely. But, just having parents who cared so much about what they did, they cared a lot about it, and they threw me up there. And I got my reps starting when I was 8 years old. Someone said to me recently, the reason why people don't like you is because it looks like it's so easy for you to act. It looks like you're just, that you don't even have to try.
Right.
And I said, well, it's interesting. I do think the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours is a variable.
Yeah,
and I've been getting my reps since I was 8 years old.
I might have said, people don't like me? What are you talking about? Like, I've not heard that about you.
I don't really care. It's not, that doesn't concern me.
Yeah. But to me, you're one of these rare Hollywood types. You have longevity in a career. And I didn't even know you started at 8. I can't believe it. You're one of these guys who's just going to go to the end in this business, which is really hard to pull off. Like, and I think you touched on it a little bit. You just keep going. You just find your way through it and you don't stop. But there aren't many people who come to Hollywood and then that are still here after a couple of years.
Well, I mean, how much time do you have? This could.
We don't have much.
This could be a whole conversation about, like I say on stage, everyone wants to know why I'm still single. Okay, I'm 200 years old. It's not cute anymore.
Right.
And I tell people that I've been married to my work. And then my work decided to see other people. And that is like my mission statement.
Really that is really good.
And then I start unpacking. Now, the reality is I've always, and this is a much longer conversation. We don't want to get into it.
We don't want to get
into
it. But
you can be a bit of a slave to your ambition.
Yes.
And so
do you think Jeremy Piven will ever find a moment where he's like, I've done it. I'm there. I can relax now.
I'm okay.
It's funny you say that. I'm about to unleash something that you're not going to be ready for. I was co-hosting a podcast with Mike Tyson, and he was going on and on about the toad. The toad is pure DMT. When something attacks a toad, it secretes this venom to protect itself. If you take that venom and you dry it and then you smoke it, it's pure DMT, and your spirit leaves your body. Okay. Are you with me?
I am. I followed it. Okay. I don't know how this relates to my question, but continue.
It's about to all make sense.
Okay.
So the reality is Tyson kept going on and on and on about it. And so I finally tried it, and I felt my spirit leaving my body. And it's not an intellectual thing. It's like it's leaving your body, and you start to have perspective on your life, and you immediately intrinsically understand how, like in my particular case, I'm very tied to my ambition. And I got to feel the perspective of life, and that you need more balance, and the spiritual way is the way. And I could feel myself leaving, going that way. And I went, I get this. I'm going to come back to all this. I agree with you. I'm going to be as spiritual as they come. I need to finish the performance. I need to finish the work of my life. I need to get back in this room and be fueled by my ambition to finish the performance, 15 years of my life, get it out there, see what happens, but I need to finish this. As soon as I finish this, I can then put on a white robe, get my prayer beads, and literally, you may never see me again.
Wow. So this might be it. This moment, the performance might be it for Jeremy
I need to
Piven.
run this out.
Run this out.
Yeah.
And you're saying you could retire after this.
I don't
might
know,
be over.
man.
Tap dancing to toads. It's all connected.
You see, Zuckerman?
You didn't think I was going to bring this back, did you?
No, I did not. When you're smoking toad mucus, I start to wonder a little bit. But before you go,
yes,
is there any chance you're going to reboot Entourage? Is there any chance? Is there any real talk about it?
You know what's funny is, and I'm not just saying this, I'm the last to hear.
You'll be the last guy.
But
have you heard anything?
All I know is that I'm on the road. And so I get to see what people are really missing. They keep rebooting, these shows, and you're like, wait, you're going to reboot that? And so I know that, for instance, there's this whole new group of younger guys, for instance, that have binged Entourage, and so
Cameron's one of them.
Yeah, there you go. You got Cameron and all of his generation. These guys are like
they want to know.
They all want. So you've got the fans that haven't left, and now you got this whole new group. And the reality is, people are like, "Oh, it couldn't survive in this climate." It's like, well, wait a minute. The number one watch show on Netflix was the Tom Brady roast, which couldn't be raunchier. People just want to laugh right now,
right?
And that's a reality. So I know there's an audience for it.
But you haven't heard anything.
No one's come to me
yet
and said anything.
But have you heard whispers in your little group of Hollywood connected world?
I'm not really connected to Hollywood. I hang out with my mom. I'm very boring.
Has your mom heard anything?
My mom's heard nothing. My mom told me not to do Entourage.
Oh, she did?
Really?
Yeah. Well, what now? How can you listen to anything she says to you now? I mean, she told you not to do the biggest show of your career?
Yeah, but she was right. What she said to me, which is very interesting, we were starting to run lines, and she started seeing me do it, and we started getting into it, and she said, you're playing this so real. She said, I think people are going to get confused. Yeah. And if you're in their living rooms for a decade, they're going to think you are this character. Yes. And I was like, Mom, that's ridiculous.
She was right.
She was right.
She was right about that.
Joyce Piven knows all.
Joyce Piven. Well, Jeremy, we love having you on
Thank
the show,
you guys for having me.
We're so happy to help you promote the performance. Congratulations, by the way, having made a movie this year. I know how impossible it is, especially when you don't have money. Congratulations. It's really an amazing piece of work.
Thank you. February 17th in a theater near you.
There you go. We're going to support you.
We should all pull up in a Porsche. Maybe you guys can lend me one of your 116,000 cars.
Is that really the message you want to send for this movie?
VW Beetle.
What, jump in a German car?
Yeah, German car. Yeah, the performance. Is that really?
Listen, we have to let the healing begin.
Let the healing begin. We will. And congratulations on the stand-up. I know how impossible that is to do, and really, you've done an amazing job with it. And I
Thank
can't
you.
wait.
What I will say to you and anyone else out there is like, first of all, you're really never too old to do anything. We can get in our own way. I'm too old or whatever. Just go out there and do it if you really want to do it.
But you're good at it and you're making money at it. That's the hardest thing. You can make your friends laugh, maybe. You make your family laugh, maybe. Then you make strangers laugh. This is Seinfeld theory. And then you get the strangers to pay to come see you and to laugh. That's the highest level, right? And you're there.
Yeah.
For stand-up. So congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. You're very generous. Next year in Jerusalem.
Yes.
There you go.
We'll see you next time on Spike's Car Radio.